We are parked on Marigold Drive. We're facing north, and we'll be coming up on the property. It'll be on the left side, on the west side of the road. This is tract 11 at Riverside at the Niagara. This tract has direct frontage on the Niagara River along its west side, actually over 300 feet of frontage. And it actually has frontage on Marigold Drive here on the east side. I believe about 70 feet. I've actually got a map with me today. It looks like 68 feet of frontage on tract 11 here. Okay. So it does have, like I said, the direct frontage on Marigold. There is not a driveway or an approach off of Marigold, but you do have an easement road that we can take deeded easement right onto the property. And I'm just trying to check where we are. I believe that this is it. So that is tract 11 on the left. Got some hardwood trees, got some cedar trees. You can see the power right there. So the power is extremely close here on the east side. So looking onto the property. You are welcome to cut in a driveway if you want to do that. But there is a deeded easement in place where we can just pull up a couple hundred feet and take the existing road. It actually goes all the way down to the bottom field and the beautiful meadow on the west side of the property, and that's where we're headed. Survey stake right there, that's going to be the northeast corner of tract 11. So obviously the power is extremely close. That looks like a driveway. It's not. That's just an old power line easement that had been driven on at some point. So all we do is we go up a couple hundred feet and we'll go left. Right through the little gate. And then we'll stay to the left and follow the road. And that's going to take us, we'll actually cross over tract 11. And then we'll go down a hill and we'll end up in a beautiful bottom field that you'll see in a minute toward the west side of the property. So we're crossing under the power line, and like I said, we actually do cross over the property again here on this existing road. Some beautiful cedar trees. This is the most narrow at its east side by the county road, and then it gets wider and wider as you head down toward the river. And once you get into that bottom field, into the river, you're talking about 300 feet wide. And that's more than likely where you'd like to build. Although there are many spots on the property that are buildable. So we've crossed over the property, and we're headed down the hill. Gravel easement roads, so a truck or an SUV is definitely what you want to have. Something with just a little extra clearance, and ideally four-wheel drive. And then if you're out here and there's been bad weather, you'll still be okay. The guys are actually out here working, improving the easement road system. There's a dump truck. So we've gotten to the bottom. The road goes left and right, and we're going to take a right. Beautiful, beautiful bottom area. This is just gorgeous. The first time we saw this, I just fell in love with this beautiful bottom area, rolling hills, and adjacent to the river as well. There's the power line. You can see it came down the hill. So actually here on this west side, the power is extremely close to the property as well. Just crossed under the line, and now we're crossing over onto the property. This is the south line of the property, and the easement road does cross right over it, so you've got good access there. As we look west toward the river, we are looking at the property. It's just utterly gorgeous down here. You can see the posts and the stakes. Not only is this fully surveyed, but the boundaries are actually marked. Generally, when you get a property surveyed, they'll mark the corners. What we had them do on this was it's called true line marking, and they put stakes and posts and whatnot every so often so that you can physically see the entire boundaries of the property. It's quite a bit more expensive, but we did want to do it on this tract and these tracts down here. That's just beautiful. Still looking at that, I feel something in my chest when I look at a property like that. It's fantastic. I can picture a cabin built on that little knoll. Let's drive out there and we'll check it out. So again, the property is on both sides of the road easement. I think we'll drive to roughly the center and then we'll head westerly toward the water. You've actually got potential building sites as we look on the east side of the road. You'd have to clear out some of that timber, but if you got up that hill a little ways, you'd have a heck of a nice view of this whole river valley. And this is just stunning, just picturesque down here. Even without the river, this would be a breathtaking sight. In the distance, you can see a lot of mature timber, big sycamores. These tracks out here were logged within the last 1 to 2 years. Certainly not clear cut. They cut a lot of the commercial size oak that was basically ready to or already declining in health because of its age. Oak do have a lifespan, and they were reaching the end of theirs. So this is great. This is probably my favorite spot on this property, personally, other than the river frontage itself, which is a whole different animal. So we're looking at the Niagara River through the trees there. Across the way, that's Marigold's canoe rental and campground, I believe, and they're doing some work on their waterfront. They've got a similar situation to what we have on this tract, in that there's almost like a drainage area before you get to the main river. So just on the other side of that timber, it drops down a little bit and there is water there, but it's not the main channel. It's just kind of like I said, basically a drainage area. Sometimes there's quite a bit of water, sometimes there's not. And when we did an aerial of a different tract, we were checking out Marigold's, and they have the same situation. And what they've done is basically, it appears they've just kind of pushed in some gravel and created a natural crossing, because a lot of their operation takes place on that gravel bar that they have. And we've got a similar situation, so might be a deal where you want to push some gravel down and kind of create a river crossing. Looking back toward the east. So you've got the good site, you're close to the water. Check out the flood map so you can see just how that sits. But that's one of the things that makes this just super, super special. It's extremely hard to find acreage that goes gently toward the water but still is out of the flood zone. But that's what you have here. Obviously at some point, probably as soon as we drop down this knoll, you'll be in the flood zone, but check out the flood maps to verify this. But the flood map I saw showed that basically right where we are, you're in good shape. Early springtime. We just have a few leaves coming out. The grass is green as can be, but it's basically been that way all winter as well. So as we look toward the west here, and you'll see that kind of drainage area that I had mentioned, and you'll see that in the drone video as well if you want to check that out. So if you wanted to create a drivable trail, oh, somebody just hopped off that tree there. otter probably. If you wanted to create a drivable trail across to the main channel, you'd likely have to push some of this dirt down in and kind of create your own crossing. Fairly simple actually if you have a piece of equipment that has a loader on it. Here's a deer trail. But there you can see there's about 1.5 feet of water in there. The river's up right now. And I've seen this with little or no water in it, and I've seen it with more. Although actually, because this is where the property's getting pretty wide. So you've got a lot of room to play with as far as if you did want to create a crossing. Here we've got a spot where you've already got a pretty good crossing. Oh yeah, and we're still on the property because I can see the southern boundary line over there. So this, I didn't even realize this had this. The track to the north doesn't have this, but you can go on foot, you can take a four-wheeler, maybe even a pickup truck with a little cleanup here. And we're very close to being able to cross right over this spot, but it's actually a little wet. So if we just skirt the boundary for about 30 feet, we could cross over and go back on up there. But we'll get out and get to the river bar and all that good stuff and check it out as well. But we did want to do this ground video. Pretty amazing property. It does need some cleanup. It does need a few things to make it an absolute showcase, one of them being to improve this crossing here, because basically over there you have a huge kind of gravel and sandbar. The roots of those trees are probably 10 feet down within the gravel and sand, and about 300-400 feet off in the distance you've got the main channel of the Niangua. We'll get out there too and splice that into this video. So it needs a little attention to be a showcase. It could be, but man, with that work done, you'd literally be talking about one of the most special properties in the state. The section of river is unbelievable. Trout fishing, bass fishing, catfish. I mean, you've got it all here. Very cool property. InstantAcres.com to check it out.